You contribute nothing but costs to this family, my daughter-in-law said right before I stopped paying their mortgage. It happened on Christmas morning in the living room that looked like a magazine spread. The tree sparkled with white lights. The smell of cinnamon rolls floated through the air, and holiday music hummed softly in the background. For a moment, I thought everything was perfect. Then Brittany opened her mouth. She sat at the head of the table, flawless as always, red sweater matching her lipstick. My son David poured coffee beside her, looking tired but proud of the house I'd been secretly paying for every month. I had bought the wrapping paper, the toys, even the turkey roasting in the oven. All I wanted in return was a little kindness. I waited until the kids finished tearing through the gifts before I spoke. "Honey," I said quietly to David, "I hate to bring this up today, but the new medication the doctor prescribed isn't covered by Medicare. It's only $100 a month, but I'm a little short after the holidays. Do you think you could help me this time?" The room fell silent. Brittany looked up from her phone, one eyebrow lifting like a blade. "Are you serious, Margaret? You've lived here rent-free, you eat our food, and now you want more money. You contribute nothing but cost to this family." The words hit me like a slap. For a moment, I couldn't breathe. My son chuckled. Actually chuckled and shook his head as if agreeing with her. Something inside me hardened. I straightened my back, my heart hammering, but my voice calm. "You're right," I said softly. "If I only bring costs, let's fix that. Starting today, the $7,000 mortgage payment ends." The laughter stopped. Brittany blinked, her perfect smile twitching. "Mortgage. What mortgage? You told me this house was paid off." David froze his coffee cup halfway to his lips. "Mom." "No," I interrupted. "You go ahead and tell your wife where her dream house really came from." The air in the room shifted. You could almost hear the truth straining to get out. The kids sensed it too. Even the Christmas carols seemed to fade. Brittany turned pale, realizing the man she married might not be the man she thought he was. I looked around the table. The garland, the fancy china, the people I loved, who somehow forgot how to love me back, and I thought, this is what betrayal looks like when it's wrapped in tinsel. I didn't cry, I didn't yell. I simply walked to my room, packed my purse, and left. Behind me, the perfect holiday fell silent. That was the day everything changed. The day I stopped being the quiet, grateful mother and became a woman who finally demanded the truth. My name is Eleanor Grant, 67, widowed, retired nurse. I spent 40 years caring for strangers, holding their hands as they slipped away, yet somehow I failed to notice my own family slipping from me. When my husband Michael passed, I thought the worst pain of my life was behind me. I was wrong. David, my only son, had said, "Mom, let's build something together. A home for 3 generations. It sounded beautiful. After all, he'd always been my pride. I sold the house Michael and I shared for 40 years, took the $80,000 from his life insurance policy, and handed it over as a down payment for David's new house. He promised it would be our home, and for a while it almost felt like it. I cooked Sunday dinners, watched the grandkids after school, and made sure Brittany never came home to a messy kitchen. When the first mortgage bill arrived, David said he was short just this month, then the next month, then every month after. I paid the $7,000 mortgage, then the car loans, then the kids' private school tuition, even their family vacations, those glossy photos from Disney World that Brittany posted online, my credit card. I thought I was nurturing a family, but really I was feeding an illusion built on guilt and manipulation. After that Christmas morning, I packed my suitcase with trembling hands. I didn't know where I was going. I just knew I couldn't stay in a house that smelled like betrayal. That evening, my phone buzzed. A message from Brittany, "You deserve to know the truth." Attached was a single envelope, thick and heavy. I opened it at my kitchen table alone, except for the hum of the refrigerator. Inside were copies of financial statements, things I'd never seen before. A credit card balance of $68,000, a second mortgage taken out on the same house I'd been paying for, And then one page that made my hands go cold, a life insurance policy worth $500,000, listing me as the insured and David Grant as the sole beneficiary. I stared at his name until the letters blurred. My son had insured my death. The woman who birthed him, raised him, and paid for everything he ever wanted, now worth more to him, dead than alive. That night, I sat on the edge of my bed and whispered into the dark, "He's not just ashamed of me. He's planning for after I'm gone. Some betrayals break your heart. Others make you question your safety. Mine did both." The morning after I found that envelope, I called the police. My hands were shaking so hard I could barely hold the phone. The detective listened quietly, then asked for my son's full name. When I said David Grant, there was a pause on the other end, long enough to make my stomach twist. "Mrs. Grant," he said carefully, "your son's name is already in an open investigation. We believe he's been involved in a series of financial scams targeting elderly women, forged signatures, fraudulent accounts, life insurance fraud. You're not the first victim." I remember gripping the counter to keep from falling. The floor seemed to tilt. My David, the boy who used to run through sprinklers and call me mama, was stealing from widows, from people like me. When David found out I'd spoken to the police, he showed up at my door that night. His face looked different, hollow and sharp, like he hadn't slept in weeks. "You talked to them," he said. "Do you have any idea what you've done? You're destroying our family." "No, David," I said quietly. "You did that yourself." He took a step closer, voice low and dangerous. "When you're old and sick, when you can't walk or think straight, who's going to take care of you? Then I'll find someone decent," I told him. "Someone who doesn't see me as an ATM. For a moment, I thought he might hit me. Instead, he slammed the door so hard the picture frames rattled. That night, 2 officers came and moved me to a safe location. They said David had been spotted at an underground casino trying to win back the money he'd stolen. Within hours, they arrested him, caught red-handed. But the story didn't end there. A week later, the detectives called again. "Mrs. Grant," they said, "we have new evidence. Brittany isn't innocent." Turns out my picture-perfect daughter-in-law had opened offshore accounts in the Cayman Islands, hiding $247,000 siphoned from the same elderly victims David had conned. She'd been laundering the money for him, then playing the role of the clueless wife. The police asked if I'd be willing to help, to wear a wire. So one afternoon, I met Brittany at a little coffee shop downtown. She greeted me with that bright smile of hers, all fake warmth and expensive perfume. "Eleanor, I've been thinking," she began, "maybe I could help you manage your finances. You've been through so much. Let me take care of you." I sipped my coffee, pretending to consider it. Then I looked her straight in the eye and said, "Interesting offer from someone under investigation for financial fraud." Her smile froze. I leaned forward, lowering my voice. "How's the weather in the Cayman Islands these days?" Her face went white. She started to stammer, but I didn't need to hear another word. The tiny recorder hidden under my sweater had captured everything. For the first time in years, I felt steady. I wasn't the helpless mother anymore. I was the witness who could finally end their game. The text arrived late, a quiet ping that sliced through my evening tea. "Meet me alone or Brittany dies." Attached was a photo, blurry, harsh, and cruel, showing Brittany bound to a chair tape over her mouth. My blood went cold. For one absurd second, I thought maybe it was a nightmare, one of those feverish dreams that dissolves when you blink hard enough. But when I looked again, it was still there. Detective Morrison was at my house within the hour. "Mrs. Grant," he said gently, "we think it's staged. The image could be stolen, edited, or fake. Organized criminals do this to scare people into silence." He said all the right things, logical and calm, but logic isn't what lives in a mother's chest. I couldn't take the chance that the woman in that photo, no matter what she'd done, was dying because of me. The detectives planned a sting operation. They wired me with a hidden microphone and placed plainclothes officers throughout the underground parking garage David had chosen. Their voices crackled softly in my earpiece. We've got eyes on every level. I felt like I was walking into a movie I never wanted to star in. The air in the garage was thick with exhaust and echoes. My heels tapped too loudly against the concrete, so I slowed my steps. Somewhere in the distance, a pipe dripped in a steady rhythm. My heart kept time with it. I told myself to breathe, to remember who I was, a woman who had survived worse than this, who had built an entire life out of other people's emergencies. Then I saw him. David stepped from the shadows, pale, shaking his hair greasy, his clothes wrinkled like he'd slept in them for days. His eyes darted around, wild-hunted. In his right hand, a gun trembled slightly. "Call them," he said, voice rough and broken. "Tell them you made it up. Tell them I didn't do it, that you lied." There was no point pretending I wasn't afraid, but fear and love often live in the same place, and at that moment, love was the stronger one. I took a slow step forward. "David," I said softly, "listen to me. There's no kidnapping. The photo, they traced it. It's from Brittany's college theater production. The police confirmed it an hour ago." He blinked, confusion flickering across his face. "That can't be true." "It is. Brittany's in custody. Safe." Something inside him seemed to give way. His jaw trembled. "So it was all in my head," he whispered. I nodded, tears stinging my eyes. "Yes, son. All of it." For a moment, the gun dangled between us, gleaming under the fluorescent light. Then his fingers loosened. The weapon clattered onto the concrete and spun in a small, hollow circle before stopping. He sank to his knees, pressing both hands over his face. His shoulders shook, not with rage this time, but with the exhausted sound of someone who had finally hit the bottom. That was when the officers moved. They came quietly like shadows, solidifying their footsteps, soft and sure. One spoke gently, "Mr. Grant, please stay where you are." There was no fight left in him. He let them pull his arms behind his back. The click of the cuffs was sharp, final. When they led him away, he looked at me one last time, not as the angry man I'd seen these past years, but as the boy who used to leave sticky fingerprints on the kitchen table, who once told me I made the best pancakes in the world. His mouth moved around 2 words, "I'm sorry," but no sound came out. I stood there long after the sirens faded, my breath fogging in the cold air. Detective Morrison placed a hand on my shoulder. "You did the right thing," he said quietly. I wanted to believe him, but right and easy rarely live in the same story. In the silence that followed, I realized I hadn't just lost a son. I'd lost the illusion that love alone could save him. Yet beneath the grief, something else stirred. Strength. The kind that comes when a woman finally decides the truth, no matter how painful, is still the only thing worth holding on to. 6 months later, I found myself standing in a courtroom that smelled faintly of paper polish and endings. The judge read the sentences in a voice that was neither cruel nor kind, just official. David, 7 years in federal prison. Brittany, 4. When it was my turn to speak, I rose slowly. The wooden chair creaked behind me. "Your Honor," I said, "David Grant is my son. I taught him to tell the truth. He forgot, but I didn't." I told the court what had been stolen from me, not just money, but safety, trust. The illusion that family automatically means love. I spoke about how I had taken it all back, not through revenge, but through truth and the law. My voice didn't shake. I wanted the other women watching from the benches, the widows, the mothers, the grandmothers, to know that courage can exist quietly without fury or spectacle. When the hearing ended, the reporters shouted questions. I didn't answer any of them. Some stories belonged to headlines, but mine belonged to healing. In the months that followed, I started the Grant Foundation for Elder Dignity, with several of the other victims' women who had also been targeted, manipulated, erased. We built a hotline, legal workshops, a small scholarship for older adults returning to school. It wasn't about charity, it was about restoration. I still write letters to David. Sometimes he replies, sometimes he doesn't. I've accepted that some bridges stay burned for a reason. But I also believe redemption isn't about waiting for an apology. It's about refusing to let bitterness take up permanent residence in your heart. Noah and Lily visit on weekends now. They run barefoot in my garden chase, butterflies, and eat cookies until their hands are sticky with chocolate. The first time they came after the trial, Lily climbed into my lap and said, "Grandma, you don't have to buy us gifts. You're the gift." I laughed, really laughed for the first time in years. It sounded strange and bright like sunlight through old windows. If you're watching this and someone once made you feel like a burden, listen to me, you are not a burden. You are proof that survival can be graceful. If you've ever been told you're too much, too needy, too costly, prove them wrong by living free. Share this story, because silence protects no one. As the music fades, the screen darkens. The logo appears Real Her Stories, where women speak the truth even when it costs everything.